Hey there, House here. Well, the MLB Trade Deadline sure did give us plenty to talk about. I figured I would take some time to talk about some of the more notable moves that were made. The first move that I want to discuss is Nelson Cruz taking his talents to, well, it's not quite South Beach, but it's in the vicinity, and joining the Tampa Bay Rays. He brings not only some valued veteran experience, but also a solid bat that seems to keep getting better with age. In his 17th season, he is showing no signs of slowing down while hitting his 21st home run of the season at the time of this recording. While he is a rental player for the year and will more than likely be on a new team next year, he will provide some much-needed pop to a lineup that was desperate for it as they continue to carve their way through the regular season and look to make a deep run into the postseason. In return, the Twins, who are the team that traded Cruz, will receive two young pitching prospects who are putting up some solid numbers in the minors this year, one of which is actually pitching for the USA Olympic baseball team. And with the Twins moving a starting pitcher, more on that later, they could definitely use some pitching assistance in the near future. Another trade that took place was the San Diego Padres trading for all-star second baseman Adam Frazier. It seems that over the course of 2 years, the Padres have done everything in their power to acquire any and every all-star round to fill every position they have. And they've been pretty successful in that endeavor. The addition of Adam Frazier definitely fits that bill. He's a Gold Glover, he's got the second best batting average in the league, and he's under control through next season. The Pirates received a pretty decent haul in the form of young and talented hitters with a pitcher to boot. The Pirates are a team that are building for the future, so stockpiling some young talent is the best thing for them right now. With the Padres seemingly trading away all of their top-tier talent over the past couple of years, it's hard to believe that they have any good gems left, but the Pirates seem to have found them. The New York Yankees are a team that you weren't quite sure what they would do at the deadline. They were in the in-between on if they were going to be active buyers or decently active sellers in an attempt to retool for next year. They went into buyer mode with their acquisition of outfield slugger Joey Gallo. Trading away what was a cornerstone piece to your organization is never easy and at times difficult for the fan base to understand. But the Rangers are a team that is going nowhere fast, and their path to success leads more towards the future than right now, similar to the Pirates. So, with their haul of three high-average hitters with some pop, as well as a Major League-ready pitcher, they received what they needed for one player. The Yankees weren't done adding left-handed power, however. The next day, they acquired Anthony Rizzo from the Chicago Cubs. Rizzo's on an expiring contract, and with no extension in sight, it made sense for the Cubs to move on from their all-star first baseman and receive what they could for him. The Yankees added more lefty power with Rizzo and the aforementioned Gallo, and what is a launching pad in New York with a short porch in right field. This will only help the offense. Because Rizzo is on an expiring contract, they weren't able to receive the best prospects that the Yankees had to offer. They were dealt a pitcher who is still figuring out his game in the minor leagues and a center fielder who has hit the ball well in a small sample size of the minors. Only time will tell if these acquisitions will make an impact for the team. The Chicago White Sox were relatively active in this year's trade deadline. They are a team that was looking to add some pieces to increase their lead in the AL Central and hoping to make a run in the postseason. They addressed a big need at second base with the acquisition of Cesar Hernandez, a Gold Glove second baseman who, despite usually being a solid average guy, has found the power stroke instead, something that the White Sox desperately need. They did have to relinquish a solid minor league starter who has a future in the Indians rotation. But with Hernandez having a team option for the following season at only $6 million, they have themselves a solid player for, hopefully, next season. They weren't done there, however. They then added bullpen arms Ryan Tepera and Craig Kimbrell from the Chicago Cubs. Glaring need at their bullpen as they had their ups and downs all year, but with these additions, they now have a commanding staff. Tepera didn't cost them much, but Kimbrell did. Kimbrell, who will be a free agent at the end of the year unless the White Sox exercise his $16 million option, had a high asking price. The White Sox sent over their starting second baseman, Nick Madrigal, who is currently lost for the season with a torn hamstring, and young bullpen arm Cody Hewer. Madrigal has worlds of talent with team control for a good number of years, as does Hewer. Only time will tell if Hewer can translate his game consistently to the major league level and if Madrigal can stay healthy. If both of those things pan out, the Cubs will have two great players for the next 4 to 5 years. All right, here's a trade that most saw coming, but until it became official, no one really knew which team these two stars would land. Once the smoke cleared, we saw that the LA Dodgers acquired both Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. The Nationals received the top prospects out of the Dodgers organization, as well as a young solid arm and another talented hitter from the Dodgers. Scherzer will be a free agent at the end of the year, and Turner is under contract through next season. They gave up a lot to get these two All-Stars, but if it helps them in their quest for another World Series championship, it'll all be worth it. All right, remember when I was talking about the Nelson Cruz trade and how when they receive some arms that they'd need after moving a starting pitcher as well? Well, we've come to that part of the video. The Twins traded away their ace, Jose Berrios, to the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are a team with one of the more exciting offenses in the league paired with a really good rotation. Their rotation got a whole lot better with Berrios joining the fold. He's an accomplished pitcher with solid command and probably the nastiest slider/curveball that you've seen in a while. If you haven't had the pleasure or displeasure, depending on if he was pitching against your team, you should check out his pitching highlights. The Twins received a decent haul in this move as they received a good young bat and an equally as young starting pitcher. Both rank 16th and 68th respectively in the Major League Baseball Top 100 Prospects list. All right, it was predicted that the Cubs would eventually be in sell mode as the deadline drew near. It started with Rizzo and has ended with both Javi Baez and Kris Bryant. Well, he got his wish after the Cubs moved him and his expiring contract to the Mets for their first-round draft pick from 2020, Pete Crow Armstrong. A lot of people thought the Cubs got fleeced in this exchange because Pete Crow Armstrong has not done much in his minor league career, and to give up a player like Baez didn't seem to fit. What some are forgetting is that because Baez is set to be a free agent after this year, he doesn't garner as much attention as they normally would have if there were more player control after this year. The Cubs take a chance on a kid that is only 19 years old and has plenty of potential to become a cornerstone for their future. The Kris Bryant move came just before the deadline clock ran out. He was sent to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for a young hitter who ranks 9th in the Giants farm system, as well as a young pitcher who's putting up some pretty good numbers across the minors this year. Again, Bryant is another player who is on expiring contract, so moving him doesn't cost the Giants their top-tier guys for a rental. But they still had to move talent around to acquire his bat. The Giants have been a surprise team of the year after they took the lead in their division over the original favorites in the Dodgers and the Padres. Look for Bryant to only help them in their goal of winning the division and staying competitive in this year's postseason. Well, that about covers all that I wanted to talk about in this episode. If there are some trades that took place that I didn't mention, feel free to leave their information in the comment section of this video and I'll check into it. Lastly, for all my betting friends out there, remember, you win some and you'll lose some, but the house always wins.